Hi, so today we will just look into how to build a simple game on Scratch. So, before I begin, I will show you guys what the game is that we are going to build today. So, yeah, 1 second. Okay, so this is the game that we are building today. So, like I will to run this game, I will click this flag icon in the top. So, like I mentioned in the last session, so this is basically the flag icon is basically the way to start a program in Scratch. So, we'll start it. I will play. So this is what the game looks like. But if I miss, let's say, if I miss hitting the asteroid 3 times, then it will automatically go to the game over window. So this is the simple game that we are going to be building today. Okay, so let's move on to building the game. Okay, so now we'll move on to building the game. So first of all, I will just give it a random name. So before we begin, I will just delete everything from my screen so that we can start from a blank page. So I'll be deleting this cat character. So first, we will begin with our backdrop, and then we will move on to the target, the asteroid, etc. So we'll begin with the backdrop, that is. So yeah, so now we are beginning with the backdrop. So initially we have some default backdrops that Scratch provides us with. So I'm gonna use some that are default, and then I will also use my own something that I uploaded that I got from the net. So yeah, so I'm initially using some backdrops that are already available in Scratch. So I'll be using this. So we have, so I will delete this plain white background because it's not needed. So I'll use this. So we will have this is the start window. So this is the first window that we'll be looking at. So I'm just naming it as start window. So and then I'm adding in a play button. So I'm using a rectangle to create a play button over here. So I have a text. Okay, so to give it a space bar, I'm giving it a dark blue color, and then I will also add in a text that says play. So then I'm changing the color of the text to let's change it to white, so it's a little bit more legible with the background. And then I'm also giving it a pixel handwriting, so that pixel font, so that it matches with the game. So next time I'm uploading a backdrop that I downloaded from the net. So I got this backdrop from Canva. So yeah, so the default dimensions for a stage is 480 into 360. So remember this, the default dimension for a stage is 480 into 360. So if you're using Canva to make your own stages, so to make your own backdrops, use this dimension so that it fills the entire stage. So we have a 480 into 360. So this is what our game window. So this is what our play window. So I will use a play window. So this is where we will be actually playing the game. Next we have one more backdrop, that is a game over window. So I will have one more backdrop. I will add in a text that says game over. So I will, and then I will increase the size so that it's more legible. So yeah, so now we have built all of our what can I say? Now we have built all of our backdrops. So next what? So next I have some next we can move on to actually the structure of the game. So initially what happens when I click the flag icon on the top, I should actually move on to uh, when I click the play button, it should move on to the play window where I can actually play the game. So what should be the logic behind it? We can use events for that. So when the flag is clicked, when flag is clicked, that is when this is clicked, we have to automatically switch the background to what? We have to automatically, 1 second, I will rename this as game over window again. Game over window. Okay, so what is the logic? When flag is clicked, what window should be? We should go to the initial page. So that is the start window. So let's see. Yeah, so when flag is clicked, we go into the what can I say? We go to the start window or the play button. So what next? So next, what is that? So when we are clicking that play button, what should happen? We should go into the play window where we are actually playing the game. So how can we do that? So we obviously have some what can I say, we like a very simple way to do that in Scratch is we can use this when stage is clicked. So when we click the stage, that is when we click the stage, so by default we are also clicking this play. So when by we can make it so that the play clicks this play button and it switches the backdrop to what? So we are switching the backdrop over to the play window. So let's see how if it works. See, so when we are clicking that, when we are clicking that play button, we are switching the backdrop over to what? This play window. So that's the logic. Now we have made some default or we have made some default backdrops. Now let's add in some of our players. So what do players we have? We have a target and we have an asteroid. So I'm adding a target and I'm also adding asteroid. So we have two players. So initially, uh, like when I like I will run again and I will show you guys. So in even in our start window we can see that our target and our play asteroid is here, but we don't want these two to be shown when we are in this start window, because like when we are actually playing the game, then only we need these two characters so that we can actually shoot and all. So what we can do is we can go over to the backdrop. No, so what we can do it, we can when flag is clicked, that is when we are actually running the game, we can hide these two. So how can we hide? When flag is clicked, we can hide it using this. See, so when flag is clicked, we can hide these two. And then what? Then when backdrop switches to the play window, when the backdrop is switching over to the play window, we can actually show them. See, so when backdrop is switches to the play window, we can show them. So this is the same for both asteroid and target. So initially we have done this for target, so I will run again. So see, now the target is hidden because I added in this code which shows that when this flag is clicked, the target should be hidden. Now when I'm clicking play, now the target is being shown. So the same logic is for the asteroid too. So what do? I can just click this. I can just click this section of block and then I can control C and then I can go to the asteroid and then I can control V. So I'm just copy pasting this block, and I don't want to repeatedly add in these blocks. I can just copy paste. So yeah, so now let's look again. When I click the play button, now both the target and the asteroid are visible. So now let's move on to the movement of, first we will move on to the movement of the target. So what now, we have actually shown the target. What next? What do we need next? So what did we do in the game? So when we moved that mouse arrow across the screen, we showed it so that that target pointer was also moving with us across the stage. So wasn't that what the logic is? Like when we move the mouse area, when we move that mouse arrow across this stage, the target should follow our mouse arrow. So what can we do? We have this code block called as go to, and then if we click that drop down menu, we have this go to mouse pointer. So this is a way for us to do this. Okay, so this block can help us do this. But the thing is, this is only happening once. But we need this to happen throughout this game. So what can we do? We can go to control, and then we have this button, that is for our button, and then we can add this go to mouse pointer inside the for our button. Now let's look what happens now. So I'll click this flag and then I will click play. See, now that target is actually for, like, the target pointer is actually following my mouse pointer and it's following it forever. That is, throughout this game it will follow my mouse pointer. That is what the purpose of the forever block is. Forever go to mouse pointer. Okay, so that is the logic for the mouse pointer. Now what? Now we will look actually into, one second. Okay, so now what else can we add in? What else logic can we add in? We can add in the logic for shooting. The target should shoot. So how can we shoot? One, okay, so like I was saying, So now what can we do? Now we have moved the target across the screen. Next, what we can do is we can actually add in a mechanism to shoot. So what we can do? So we are moving the target across the screen using our mouse, right? So when we are clicking that mouse button, we can make it so that the target actually shoots. So initially, for now, let's just add in a sound effect for shooting. So how can we do that? How can we add in a simple like sound effect for shooting? We can do that using control. So if, when, what can we add? If mouse down, if mouse down, what then? If mouse down, then what? We can actually play a sound. So let's go out a sound, and let's first of all let's add a sound. So I've already chosen in a sound that I think sounds good. Okay, so this is the sound that I thought matches. So this is the hit sound. So this sound is actually for when that target is actually hitting or it's shooting. So play, basically we will go out to play and the sounds, and then we will play hit sound. So let's see. So we will start a new game. Play. When I'm simply moving across the screen, nothing happens. When I'm actually clicking it, then only it is playing that hit sound. Okay, so I hope you guys understood that logic. Okay, so next what? So next what? Next we will move on to the asteroid. So now initially we have shown the asteroid to what? Like we have just generated the asteroid in this play window. Now what? So as we saw in our, as I showed you guys in the demo, the asteroid falls down from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. So it basically falls down like this. So that is the movement of the asteroid. So initially what we can do is we can use these, like what can I do? Motion, in motion I can use go to random position. So where is it going? See, the asteroid is generating randomly. See, but we don't want the asteroid to go randomly, but rather we want the asteroid to go generate over here. Like we want the asteroid to be generated in, like I will show you guys, in this part of the window. Like if here is where the asteroid will generate, and then the asteroid will fall down. Okay, so this is where the asteroid will generate, and then the asteroid will fall down. So what does that mean? The x position, this is the x-axis, right? So the x value can be anything, that is it can be from here to here. So what we can do, we can just pick a random number, and then like I mentioned in the previous session, this side of the x-axis is minus 220, and this side of the x-axis is 220. So x value can be from minus 220 to 220. But x value can be from here to here, but y value should only be in the top part. Like this is the y axis, and the asteroid should be generating in the top of the screen. So what does that mean? In last session I told you guys the top of the screen was 160. So let's see, is it working or not? Like let's see, go to x. See, it's always generating in the, when I'm clicking the session, of course, see, the asteroid is always generating in the top of the screen. See how that logic works? See, so now what? Now we want the asteroid to move down the screen. What can we do? So before we move the asteroid down the screen, let's add in some variables. So this is a variable that is by default. We can delete it, and then we can add in some variable for the game. What are those variables? Speed. Speed is one variable. Next what? Score. Next what? Miss. So I've added in some variables. We have speed, we have score, and then we have miss. So what does this mean? Speed is for speed of the asteroid, how fast the asteroid moves down across the screen. Score, just when we are hitting it, and miss is if we are missing the asteroid for a certain number of, for a certain number of times, then it's game over, right? So that's why we have used these three variables. And I will also increase the size of my asteroid a bit, because I feel like it's a little small right now. So now I feel like it's a little bit more of a bigger size, because asteroid should be a little bit bigger than our target pointer. So yeah, now what? Now we want the asteroid to fall down, and we want it to fall down. What we can do is we can change the y value. Right, we can change the y value by what? We can change the and before that I have also have to set my variables. Like we have to give it initial values. So initially speed should, initially I will set miss as 0, and then I will also initially set score as 0, because that's how, well, that should be the initial values. And then I will initially set speed as -1, and this speed value is what we will be using to decrease, to make it so that the asteroid moves down across the screen, so that this asteroid is starting in the top position of the y-axis. For it to move down the screen, the y value of this asteroid should decrease. So what does it mean? So we are decreasing the y value by, we are decreasing that y value by so we are basically subtracting the y value, right? So initially the y value was 160, then we are subtracting it. So 160 minus 1 will be 159, and then 158, and then 157, so on. And this subtraction should be forever. So what does that mean? For our block, we have to subtract by what? We have to subtract it by speed. So why did we use speed here? You, by using this speed variable, I can make it so that, like, we can add in a level element to our game, so that when we are going higher levels, when we are going into higher and higher levels, we can decrease the speed. Like we can set the speed to -10 value, so that maybe the asteroid will fall down very fast. Like for example, initially the asteroid was at 160. If the speed is -10, what next? 160, 150, 140, 130. See, it's moving so fast down the screen. So that's the logic behind it, and I will show you guys too. So initially the asteroid was -1. Let's look at what this means. See, it's moving across the screen and it's moving down the screen so slow. But if let's say I change that speed value to -10, let's start again. See how fast it's moving. So that's the logic behind this. Forever we are decreasing the y value so that it moves down the screen. Now what? Now that it has reached the down, like that is the threshold down part of the screen, we want it to generate again at the top of the screen. Because if it right now it's just stuck in the bottom of the screen, we want it to go back in the top of the screen and then again fall down. So what does this mean? So this means that if what? If the y position, if the y position is less than, if the y position is less than what? How do we do that? If the y position is less than -160. What does this mean? This is the end of the stage. This is the end of the stage. So this end of the stage, I told you guys that the top was 160 for the y-axis, the top was 160, and the bottom is -160. So now the asteroid is less than -160, which means it is under this. So when this situation happens, what next? It should go back to the top of the, it should go back to the top, right? It should generate to the top. So what I can do, this section, see, this part is the code to go back to the top. Because what does this code do? Look, see, it's generating to the initial position. The initial position is what? The top of the screen. So what can we do? We can add this same block over here. But see, this is a repetition, right? So when we are repeating these code blocks, what we can do, this we can set up a broadcast. What are we broadcasting? In this drop down message, we can broadcast a new message. What are we broadcasting? Go to initial position. Go to initial position. Is that not correct? Are we not broadcasting go to initial position? So next we have to actually set that broadcast up. That is, when I receive go to initial position, what should I do? We should go to X, pick random. We should go to this part of the screen. That is, we should go to the initial position, that is the top of the screen. So I will also add in a broadcast message over here, because we have to generate it so that the initially also it generates at the top of the screen. So let's start the game again. See see so that was the logic here. So now what? Now we have made it so that the asteroid is falling down across the screen. Next what? Next what we need to do is we need to do the hit. Like we need to actually, now what? So next what we need to do is we need to actually hit that asteroid, right? We need to hit the asteroid with our pointer. So before that, I will show you guys something. See, we need to actually hit this asteroid, right? But right now we are not actually hitting anything. So how do we hit it? How do we hit it? We can use this thing, that is when this sprite is clicked. And what is this sprite? This sprite is this asteroid. So when this asteroid is clicked, is that not the logic? Because what did we do with the target? We made it so that the click, see, the click was the target, was actually when we hit it. So when this sprite is clicked, what should happen? Initially, we should increase the score, right? Because now the score has increased by one, because we actually hit the asteroid. And then we can actually change the speed, because now that we have hit that asteroid, we have actually increased our level a bit. Because by increasing, what we can do, we can change the speed by again -1. So initially I will set the speed to -1, and then every time we hit the target, it actually decreases. So what does that mean? Every time we are hitting that asteroid, we are making it harder. And by harder, I mean the asteroid is coming down across the screen faster and faster. So that's the logic behind that. So let's see if this works. And then also, we should make sure that once that like what I mean, that sprite is like when we are hitting that asteroid, we should also, now that asteroid gone, right, we have to make it so that it goes back to the initial position. So what can we do? We have to broadcast it to go to the initial position. So can we look at it now? Okay, so play. So I'm hitting it, and it's going back to the initial position, see. And then my score is also changing, see, score 3. And then my speed is also becoming faster. Now it's dropping down faster, faster and faster and faster, see. So now we have actually made a simple game. Now what we could add is, we could add in some sound effects, so that when we are actually hitting that asteroid, we can actually play a sound to show that it is hitting it. So one sound that I've chosen is this coin sound. So what can we do? We can play this over here, right? So we can play asteroid hit until down. So let's see, hitting the asteroid. When we are hitting the asteroid, sound. Okay, so now we have made the basics of the car game. So what next? What next? We haven't added in a logic for the game over, right? We have, as of now, not added in any logic for the game over, right? So what do we mean by game over? So we have a miss variable at the top right. So let's say, if the player misses hitting that asteroid 3 times, then it's game over. If the player misses hitting that asteroid 3 times, then it's game over. How do we show that? How do we understand that the player actually missed that asteroid? So we can understand it by this. See, the asteroid is falling down like this. The asteroid is falling down like this. If you're hitting that asteroid, then what is happening? The asteroid will again move from the top, and then it will again come down. But whereas if we are missing that asteroid, if we missed that asteroid, it will just straight fall down, right? It will just straight fall down. If we are hitting that asteroid, it will, like, if it is in the middle and then we are hitting that asteroid, it will again go to the top and then again fall down. But if we missed that asteroid, it will come, like it will just fall down. It will just fall down like under the screen, right? And then it will again generate in the top. So what can we do? Where can we add? We have this section, right? That if y position is less than -60, what does this mean? This means that we missed that asteroid, because the y position of that asteroid was less than -160, which means it went under the stage. So the asteroid started from the top and then it fell down without us hitting it. So what does this mean? We have to change miss my 1. So let's see if that works. Play. See, now it's just the ordinary game. So now I'm missing that asteroid. The asteroid falls on. See, miss 1. The asteroid comes down, and then it is like I am not shooting it, so that it is falling down. See how the miss value is increasing, because I'm not shooting that asteroid, because I couldn't shoot it. So that's the logic behind it. So what next? Now we have to add in a game over logic, right? Because this can't just go on forever. So what can we do? If we can add in a control, like if miss is equal to what? Wait. If miss is equal to, let's say, 3, if miss is equal to, let's say, 3, what then? We can use broadcast. What? We have to broadcast a new message. What is that message? Game over. Game over. See, now we have to add in the logic for the game over. So when I receive game over, what then? When I receive game over, what then? We have to switch the backdrop, right? We have to switch the backdrop to game over window. Is this not the logic? Let's see. So initially I'm hitting the asteroid, but let's say I missed it. I missed it once, I missed it twice, and I'm missing it third times. Game over. Right? Game over. But you can see that the pointer and the asteroid is still in the screen. So we have to hide this. How can we do that? We can do that using this logic. And before we do that, we also have we can do that using the same way we did this. That is, when the flag was clicked, hide. But when the backdrop switches to play window, show. So what does that mean? So when the backdrop is again switching to events, when the backdrop is switching to what? Game over window, we should hide everything, right? We should hide everything, because we only need this game over window when it's when we if it's game over, we don't need this pointer and this asteroid. So again, the same thing should apply to the asteroid also. So when we are clicking that, when the backdrop switches to the game, I just copy pasted it, by the way. I just control C control V, I just copy pasted it. When the backdrop switches to game over window, we should hide this. So let me just let me just copy this code to the bottom here. So when the backdrop switches to game over window, we just have to hide it. So let's see if this works. So I'm starting the game again. I'm first of all I'm hitting it. See? But let's say I missed it. I missed it once, I missed it twice, and I'm missing it third times. Game over. Right. Now some additional things that we could add to our like what's a game to make it a little bit more fun. So in this window, that is, when the stage is clicked, when we are going over to the play window, maybe we could add in some sounds, right? Like maybe we could add in what, like in the in scratch we have a sound for video game. This sound, yeah, this sounds good. So I feel like this math is my game too. So space bg, I'm renaming it, and then I'm making it a little bit softer, so that it's not as loud, because it should be playing in the background, right? And it should be playing throughout the, like in the, when the backdrop is in the play window, it should play throughout, right? So what can I do? Forever play space bg until done, right? So let's see. Now there is no sound, but when I move on to the space bg, there is sound. See, but now I'm missing it. Okay. So another thing that we could add is, when we actually go over to this game over window, right? When this backdrop is switching to the game over window, we can just stop all these sounds, because when it's in the, we only need that sound when we are actually playing the game, right? We don't need the sound when it's game over. So what can we do? We can add in a stop all. This, when we do this, when we can do a stop all block. By stop all means that every single sound, that all the sound that we are using and other moving components, it will just stop. Let's see. We are playing. We are hitting the asteroid, and then I'm missing it on purpose. Missing once, missing twice, missing thrice. Stop. Sound effects cut off. Next, I also want to point you guys to one logic. See, look at our target. It's currently behind the asteroid. See, is that not logically incorrect? Because the target should be in front of the asteroid, right? Like, I mean, in the game, in when we, in the sense of, in a logical sense, shouldn't the target be in front of the asteroid? So, what can we do? We actually have a way to do that. That is, go to friend layer. See, go to friend layer, and we can add that to the target over here. In the target, we can add this layer. That is, go to friend layer. Let's see if that works. Play. See, now the target is in front of the asteroid, and we are hitting that asteroid. And then see, I'm purposely missing once, twice, and thrice. And when it's hitting the thrice, it's game over. So yeah, so that was all about building this simple game using Scratch. I hope that this was useful to you guys. Thank you.